There is absolutely unequivocally zero way that Deion Sanders is the best football coach in the Big 12. Let's get locked on Baylor.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello there, Bears fans. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Baylor, brought to you by Game Time. I'm your host, Cam Stewart of ESPN Central Texas and The Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network on YouTube. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's go over the worst top 25 list of the year, the top 25 head coaches in college football, apparently, and the Big 12 disrespect and maybe a bit overinflating of certain Big 12 coaches. Also, we'll look at where Baylor fell in the latest bracketology from Joe Lunardi. Are they even on the list? Are they a tournament team? Ooh, the answer might surprise you. Plus, we're looking ahead at this weekend's game against the UCF Golden Knights. And while that might seem like a pushover, the Knights could certainly trap Baylor in their own backyard this weekend. All that and more coming up on this episode of Locked On Baylor. Let's start with the list. We have not played a single down of college football in the 2025 season, and yet we already have the worst top 25 of the year. This comes from Ari Wasserman of On3, and it is the top 25 coaches in college football. And you don't have to go far to see where this starts to make no sense. At number 7, the top-ranked Big 12 head coach, number 7, Deion Sanders. To which I ask and follow up with this question of why? For what? And if you keep asking that question throughout this list, this top 25 list from Ari Wasserman, you're just going to become really frustrated because it doesn't make any sense. There's like no rhyme or reason to, we're going by championships. We're going by, what these guys have done lately, who puts whom in the pros, who has the consistency. Like, there's just no rhyme or reason to it at all. Like, nothing, man. And it becomes very, very frustrating as a result. By the way, Deion is just one spot behind Dabo Swinney, who is who is behind Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman, great story. Think Notre Dame's going to do some good things. Dabo Swinney's won 2 national championships. But because he's cringy at the podium, he's no longer a better coach than Marcus Freeman? What is this, man? And buried, so Deion, one spot ahead of Kyle Whittingham, who's been doing this 20 years, 4 or 5 conference championships, a couple National Coach of the Year awards. But Deion's better. Because why not? Because we just think he is for some reason. He's 13-12 at Colorado, and they might have got this list from Wikipedia because Wikipedia apparently has Colorado tied for first in the Big 12 this year. Don't know where that's coming from. Don't know what metric that is at all, but they seem to think that he maybe deserves to be number 7. But honestly, he shouldn't even be on the list at all. Like, if we watch any kind of college football, you would know that Deion Sanders shouldn't be on this list at all, because what has he done, man? Like, we're not talking about the Jackson State days. We're not. We're talking about FBS college football right now. And right now, he has not even won a bowl game, let alone a conference championship. He hasn't come close to that, tied for first. I don't even know what that means here. Let's look at the list from Wasserman. I mean, incredible. He's ahead of Whittingham and all that Kyle Whittingham's done. Lance Leipold at 14. Look, I like Lance Leipold. He's a good coach. But what has he done more than Brian Kelly? Like, what are we doing? And then you get some Big 12 flavor towards the end at 24-25, Kilani Sitake at 24, and Matt Campbell at 25. Where is Dave Aranda on this list? Like, I know people have issues with Dave Aranda, and he's had some lean years in there. Don't get me wrong. But if we are talking about what these guys have accomplished, how is Sharon Moore on the list and Dave Aranda is not? Or better yet, how is Deion Sanders on the list and Dave Aranda is not? Dave Aranda's had a 12-win season. He's won a conference championship. He's won a New Year's Six bowl game. Like, how did we get to this? Oh, well, Sherrone Moore, he was a national championship winning coordinator. Same thing for Brent Venables. Yeah, he can't put a winning record together at the freaking University of Oklahoma, a team that is allergic to losing records, and he just keeps throwing them out left, right, and center. Oh, he was a defensive coordinator, national champion. So was Dave Aranda. And we're not even talking about assistants. We're talking about head coaches here. But even if you do want to expand it to assistant coaches, Dave Aranda should skyrocket up the list. He should be in the top 10. But no, we like Deion's shades, man. And you see how fun Colorado is? Isn't that fun? Like, what are you talking about, dude? What world is this? And we're clearly not basing it off championships. Kirby Smart should be number one, couple national championships. Ryan Day at number two. He just won his national championship and has a great winning percentage. But we're not basing it off championships because then it goes Dan Lanning, 0. Steve Sarkisian, 0. Marcus Freeman, 0. And then Dabo Swinney, who has 2. Followed by Sanders, 0. Whittingham, 0. DeBoer, 0. Heupel, 0. We can go down the list. I know there's not many national championship winning head coaches here. But one of them is 6th. Like, what? And oh, by the way, I'll pull up the graphic again if you're watching on YouTube. Look at 21. A guy who has literally never coached at all in college football. I know Bill Belichick's the greatest football coach of all time, but he has never coached a second in college football. Not one game. Like, what are we talking about? Brent Venables has not been to a conference championship game. Matt Campbell has. Sherrone Moore has coached 1 year. Are we giving him credit for like the 2 or 3 wins he had filling in for Harbaugh for a stacked Michigan team when he beat Maryland? Like, what are we talking about? And he beat Ohio State this year. That's fantastic. They went from national champs to 7-5. And you're telling me that guy's a better coach than Matt Campbell? Iowa State has not won a conference championship in 100 years. At least he's brought them to the game twice. He's the only coach in their hit. Like, Iowa State's a doormat, and he has them as a respectable program. But oh no, he's not Sherrone Moore. What? This is the worst list I've ever seen, man. And Aranda's not even on it. Like, that's incredible. I'm sorry, dude. You pull anyone, dude. Pull anyone around college football and tell them to find you 25 better head coaches in the game right now than Dave Aranda. 25 more accomplished college football head coaches in the Division I FBS level than Dave Aranda. You can't do it unless you have brain damage. Ari, man, get it checked out. CAT scans are affordable these days. What is the dude like stuffed a crayon too far up his nose and just made this list? It's incredible. Deion Sanders, number 7. I'm sorry. What has the guy done? That was a good Colorado team last year. And if he keeps this thing going, that's fantastic. I'm not saying he's a total waste, but 13-12 in the FBS. It's just unbelievable to me. I can't stop looking at it. I really can't. Marcus Freeman doesn't have a conference championship, by the way. Deion Sanders does not have a conference championship. Josh Heupel does not have a conference championship. Mario Cristobal does not have a conference championship. Kurt Cignetti does not have a major conference championship. They're all ahead of Kenny Dillingham, who does have a Big 12 championship. Leipold does not have a major conference championship. James Franklin does not have a conference championship. Brian Kelly does not have a major conference championship. Lane Kiffin has not come close at Ole Miss. Brett Bielema did it 10 years ago. Sherrone Moore does not have a conference championship. Kirk Ferentz does not have a conference championship. Lincoln Riley does not have one at USC, but he does have some conference championships. Brent Venables does not have a conference championship. Kilani Sitake does not have a conference championship. Matt Campbell does not have a conference championship. Already we're done. Dave Aranda has one. And a New Year's Six bowl. Only like half these guys have won a New Year's Six bowl. It's just incredible to me. Like, what world are we living in where these are the 25 guys you have over Dave Aranda? If you want to put Matt Campbell over him, I can hear that out. Absolutely, man. He doesn't have the conference championship that Dave Aranda does, but this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. What world is Deion Sanders a better college football coach than Kyle Whittingham? I'm sorry. Like Kenny Dillingham, CFP, Josh Heupel, CFP, Kurt Cignetti took Indiana to the CFP, and he's not better than Deion Sanders? Give me a break, man. Give me a break. Oh, this went way too long. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I just think it's one of the most ridiculous top 25 lists we've ever seen. Ari Wasserman, man. Seriously, get whatever this is checked out, man. You need some help. Anyway, next we're going to see, is Baylor basketball actually an NCAA tournament team? You always are, but is this year the year that ends? It might surprise you. That answer's coming up next on Locked On Baylor. But first, a message from our friends over at Game Time, the only place I go to buy my tickets, guys. And that's no joke. I do it all the time. Attending NFL playoff games is experience like none other. Of course, you can't really do that anymore because it's the Super Bowl, but the energy, the excitement, and the connection with other fans are unmatched. I remember the thrill of going to see the biggest home game you could see, the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. It was raining, it was cold, but it was a time I'll never forget. Like, seriously, if you have the opportunity, do it. This year, Game Time makes it even easier to create those unforgettable moments with their new features, Game Time Picks. It filters out the fluff and shows you only the best deals on great seats so you can focus on what matters, and that is being there. By the time you're listening to this, I was at a game courtesy of Game Time tickets last night. Bedard, McDavid, the best hockey player on the planet. I had some great seats. I had an awesome deal because I went to Game Time first. I did all-in pricing. It made it so easy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, and that, of course, is guaranteed. Is Baylor an NCAA tournament team right now? That's a tough question, isn't it? They don't look like one. They look like a team that could bow out pretty quickly, even if they do get in. But as of right now, they're still in there. They're on the 8-9 line again. But as I said, after the Tech game, you got to put together some big wins here. The Kansas one was great. Like, we're not subtracting from that just because you lost to Tech. But you need a couple more. And that's the opportunity that this conference presents you. But you have to win a couple more in order to get into the big dance. And right now, Baylor's still, I think, in an uphill climb because this is looking at it from February 5th. This isn't taking into account if they lose all their big games down the rest of the way. So they do not have like the nailed on tournament resume yet, although that win against St. John's looks better and better by the day. Joe Lunardi does these every week. He's still got Baylor in there. He's got them as an 8 seed, and wouldn't you know it, he's got them in the East region, matching up against 9th seed and surging Texas Longhorns. Ooh, doctor, that would be fun. I said it last year, man. There's no reason why Baylor shouldn't be playing UT all the time in the non-conference other than the fact that UT's scared, and I get that. You know, Baylor's really turned things around the last 15 years, including like when it comes to that rivalry, so I get that. But we could have the ultimate theater, and that is Baylor versus UT in the first round of the NCAA tournament. And maybe more microscopic than that, VJ Edgecombe, Trey Johnson. The headlines, the narratives, it's going to be fantastic. You guys remember Trey Johnson was at one point the number 1 player in the 2024 class. It looked like he was going to be a Baylor Bear. He had plenty of Baylor ties, had a dad that played at Baylor, and it looked like it was going that way. And then he pivots to UT, play for Rodney Terry. Who wouldn't want to play for Rodney Terry? And Baylor pivots themselves and goes out and gets VJ Edgecombe, who ends up higher ranked by the end of this thing in the ESPN Top 100. So, hey, look, we love VJ, and I'm sure UT loves Trey Johnson, and both these teams are clearly at the same spot, 8 versus 9 here. They're both underachieving this year. specifically Baylor, I would say, because they have more expectations going into the season than Texas did. But that would be a fascinating matchup because they're two guys who are not going to play in the Final Four, and they're not going to play college basketball next year. So that would be a really cool matchup to see them go head to head. And by the way, one of the other bracketology or bracket projections, I guess, Lenardi's the only one that does bracketology. This week had the same thing. Baylor is an 8 facing a 9, but they had them facing Clemson in round 1. Boy, that would have sucked. There's like it sucked last year when Baylor went out in the second round again. It double sucked that they went out to Clemson, not much of a basketball power, but obviously they made a run to the Elite 8. And it really triple sucked that they lost to Brad Brownell, who called out the Big 12 for being, an overrated conference. And then we proved them right in that game. The only thing that would quadruple suck is if all of that happened and then you face Brad Brownell in the tournament the next year as well. God, that would suck. But Baylor, UT, give that to me on a silver platter, man. There is like almost no coach in college basketball that everyone wants to go out and beat more than Rodney Terry, right? Like Dan Hurley is up on that list too as a serial winner and a guy who's pretty annoying. Everyone wants to beat Kansas and Kentucky, no matter who their coaches are, and Duke, no matter who their coach is. But this one would feel pretty good. This classic rivalry kind of being reborn in the NCAA tournament. I'm so in for that. What a matchup that could be. And again, the Trey Johnson, VJ Edgecombe matchup would be, I think it would feed families, brother. I really do. Like the more I see this, the more I need it. I need it like I need air to breathe. Because like what better scenario could you ask for? And I think that's honestly the same for UT. I know they'll play, Baylor, little brother, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I haven't seen their basketball national championship banner yet to see that one. Maybe I'm missing it. But they'll like that too. Because the first round of the tournament, like you're not facing anyone of any note usually, right? Because usually Baylor's a top 3 seeds. They're playing someone who's way low. They played Syracuse that one year in 2019 as an 8-9 game, but typically you're not getting like a cool matchup in that first round. No one was thinking, oh yeah, Baylor gets Colgate. Can't wait for that. But here's your opportunity, man. Both these teams are going to have fairly disappointing seasons. They're going to be obviously kind of barely scraping into the NCAA tournament. Why not? And Baylor and Texas, that's a way to really spice, I don't know, up your season in March. Have those two teams square off, legitimate rivals. Like that would be awesome. The only thing that would really suck from it is that the game's being played in Raleigh in the East region. So that doesn't do much for either fan base, but that would be an awesome matchup. Like at this point, give it to me. It's because they're not going to be a 3 seed, and the alternative to being lower is probably missing the tournament. So if you're going to make the tournament, let's at least make this fun and beat UT one last time. And then you want to go out in the second round for the billionth year in a row. Let's do it. But let's beat UT first. Beat Trey Johnson first. Man, that would be a ton of fun. That's like the best case scenario, I think, for Baylor right now. Even if they win the rest of their games throughout this year, they're like a 4 seed. So it's not going to be that streak is going to end of whatever it was, top 3 seeds. I think they have the longest streak of anyone in America, right? Because Kansas was a 4 last year. So you're not going to get there. Might as well have an 8-9 matchup with Texas. And if it does come down to an 8-9 matchup and it's Clemson, then we're really up a creek, man. We are really up a creek. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Would you rather just have that? Like you're not going to have a top 3 or 4 seed. All right, then let's just play Texas. I think I know my answer to that because I've already told you. Let me know down in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube and find us wherever you find your podcasts. Locked On Baylor is rolling on. We're going to take a preview of that matchup Saturday, which could be a trap game against the UCF Knights. Beware of this one. Beware of this one on Saturday. Admiral Akbar will have you being aware of this one. UCF, I think they're just the Knights now. Maybe they're not the Golden Knights anymore. But they are a tricky team. I wouldn't say they're a good team, but they are a tricky team. And in fact, if we go to Lenardi's bracketology, they are the first team out of the NCAA tournament, which does not help our case going into this game on Saturday. Don't know the status of VJ Edgecombe yet. I'm sure the only time we'll hear from Scott is Friday afternoon. And you guys know Scott probably not going to be like, yeah, VJ is going to be playing, or no, he's going to miss this game and the next game and he'll be back by Houston. You're probably going to, oh, we'll see, game time decision. In fact, go to our friends at FanDuel, see if you can place a bet on this. I will put the mortgage on him saying game time decision Friday afternoon. Game time decision. If you don't have VJ Edgecombe, this might not be a win. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Every other sign points to you should beat UCF. What have I said? Broken record all year. You're a better team. You're playing them at home. A team with this lack of talent, that's got to be a win. That's got to be a win. But UCF, they can put up some points. They're the worst defense in the Big 12. They're the worst defense in the Big 12. But they can really put up the points. They can shoot the heck out of it sometimes. And they've had some big wins this year. Remember, they beat A&M. They beat A&M on opening night. They nearly beat Kansas at Fog Allen. They nearly beat Houston. They lost to Houston by 1 back in mid-January or so. You remember that? They hung tough with Arizona. They hang tough in a lot of these games, including against BYU as well. They beat someone else good. I'm trying to look through it here. They beat A&M and Tech. They beat Tech in the conference opener. Maybe the best team in the Big 12 right now. So, don't discount them. I know they only beat Tarleton by 15 and Baylor beat them by like a zillion, but don't discount this team. And if you're playing defense the way you did the other night, you're not going to win. They're going to score 95 points. That's what they can do. That's what they can do to a dude. The only team in conference play that they've held under 60 is TCU. And Baylor somehow lost that game to TCU. Can't believe that. But they can put up the points. They have made teams stub their toes this year. They made teams stub their toes last year. Baylor had some trouble with them out in Orlando in that game last year. And the other thing, the Lenardi bracketology. Guys, they're desperate. You think Baylor needs some big wins? They do. UCF really needs some wins. And a road win at Baylor, that would certainly help. Keyshawn Hall is the motor, guys. 18 points a game, better than anyone on Baylor's roster. And he's their leading rebounder, too, by the way, as a guard, 7 rebounds a game. Darius Johnson, veteran guy, has been a good floor general for them the last couple of years. That's kind of the connection offensively. It's a backcourt-driven team. Hall and Darius Johnson, certainly Jordan Ivy Curry as well. Another one they kind of play as a 3-guard set. He'll be out there. But they all play over 30 minutes a game. They all average over 14 a game. That's a team that can get after you. So you cannot take this game lightly. I know we shouldn't be saying that against UCF, but that is the case. You cannot take this game lightly. And something like this, maybe this is just me buying into Johnny Dawkins too much because I like Johnny Dawkins. I think he's a real good coach. But like that team has to start playing some defense at some point. And like by no means they're going to be like a top 50 defensive team or anything, but we see this, with teams like that where they start needing some wins, they pull off some desperate wins, and they start playing some defense come February because they're in playoff mode, they're in tournament mode. If you don't have VJ Edgecombe in this game, I think it's an uphill battle for Baylor. I really do. Like I wouldn't love picking them if VJ's not playing. The way we saw it the other night. And maybe, you have another game under Roach's belt and maybe he shoots better. Maybe Jaden Nunn shoots better, but we say that all the time and they don't shoot better. So maybe they're just not good shooters. You need Norchad to make more shots. You need Norchad to not be bullied on the boards like I thought he was against Tech. And you need VJ to play. And that sucks that at this point in the year, you say, well, you need this, this, and this to beat UCF. No disrespect to UCF, but the way the things have gone the last couple of years for Baylor specifically, like you should be able to throw on the uniform, play a little bit of defense, and walk out of there with a win at home. But I'm nervous about this one. I'm nervous about this one. And I won't wipe my brow until about 3:15 on Saturday, Central Time. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Give me your game predictions in the comments or tweet at us at Locked On Baylor. Please do let me know what you think about this coaches thing. I think it's totally insane. And would you want to see Baylor play UT in that first round of the tournament? I love it. I personally love it. Thank you guys so much for making it your first listen today and every day. We've got the squad show coming up later this afternoon. That's going to be the evening edition. And then we'll talk some more recruiting and football in tomorrow's show, the quick Friday show. Really appreciate you guys making it your first listen today and every day. Seriously, you guys have made this the number one Baylor sports show there is. And the numbers speak for themselves. You guys have grown this channel immensely, and I so appreciate and love you guys, truly. Anyway, we'll see you later today in the squad show, and then just me and the beautiful smiling mug tomorrow on your favorite show, Locked On Baylor.